Well, first of all, by way of introduction, Mick, I work for an organisation called Swisslog. I'm the Health and Safety Manager. I've been that for the past 4.5 years, and I work as part of the wider European EMEA region within Swisslog. I've had many roles in occupational health and safety over the years, and most of those roles have been within the manufacturing environments. I've used the safety climate tool on a number of occasions, two in particular, one whilst I was working in the aerospace world, manufacturing, and now whilst I'm working at Swisslog. And on both occasions, it's been successful, and hence the reason that I've introduced it into Swisslog some 4 years back or so. Okay, we put the next slide on, please, Carl. Just sort of a quick whistle-stop tour through what I intend to cover very briefly, why we selected the safety climate tool, a little bit on implementation and how that went with a few tips. A sort of whistle-stop tour through some of the improvements that we saw as a result of introduction, and I'll also show you some evidence that clearly demonstrates that that is the case. And last but by no means least, just a look forward into the future, next 3 to 5 years, with our intention to use the tool thereafter. Next slide, Carl. So why did we select the safety climate tool? For a number of reasons. Certainly, on the start of the journey that I had with Swisslog, it was important to gain an objective, transparent, accurate overview of where we were. It's, as Wendy has explained, it's anonymous, and therefore no one fears saying what they really feel. And we really did want to see where the organisation was with regard to its safety culture, warts and all. And it did just that for us. It's certainly objective, it's clear, it's a consistent survey that has got a good deal of analysis and data behind it. And I think for me, more importantly, it's having the ability to breach international, national boundaries and work across, for example, in our case, Europe, but we are also looking possibly towards extending it beyond that if the need arises, and see how it goes. But I'm focused now on the issues and introduction across the UK business. It's obviously designed by scientists within the HSE, HSL, and it uses 53,000 subscribers and across many organisations globally, and I think that's a real powerful tool to use, and that's why we chose it. It does give a real clear view of where the results have taken us. The analysis, the output is not just is objective and accurate with regard to how the business is doing, but I think more importantly, the visuals that are given as a result of the platform are really clear, straightforward, and simple to interpret. Support, in terms of support from the team that have just been discussing this with you, is particularly good. There's never been a point during my use of the safety culture tool whereby if I hit an issue, if there's something that I want to discuss or clarify, I've been able to do that almost immediately with the team that create this tool. You can pick the phone up and speak to any of the team rather than having to rely on convoluted communication chains and emails and help desks and so on and so forth. And that's a real good aspect to the tool to me. It's got that personal touch. And the final point in terms of selection, it does allow you, as Wendy's explained, to drill down into the detail, into the data, and it does allow you to go right down into the weeds of it to determine where the pinch points are, and therefore where we can focus additional or main effort. Next slide, please, Carl. Okay, senior leadership involvement and participation and commitment is fundamental to any organisation that takes health and safety seriously, obviously. And we we did manage really early on in the journey to gain the senior leadership team commitment on the implementation of this tool. Without that, we wouldn't have seen the catalytic effect of the tool creating benefit as we progress through the journey. The intuitive survey that is set up at the start phase is really easy to follow. I think the most important part of the survey is the demographics that sit alongside the survey, and creating the demographics, the right demographics for the organisation and the various parts of the organisation is really important. The build aspect of the survey is really straightforward, and as I say, we've now moved the survey out to the rest of Europe, and everyone within Europe, every country that's using it within Europe is finding it really easy to build and subsequently deliver the survey wherever it may be needed. And moving on to the templates in terms of the preparation, then the implementation, and then the analysis. The HSE, HSL provide pre-formatted templates which are already built. You don't have to do any thinking or designing, it's there for you. And that for me was pivotal. You can get the right messages out at the right time to the right audience, and assist the delivery of the tool, of the safety climate tool. And it's, as has already been said, it's multilingual. It can be used globally. And I think there's 40 or 50 languages written into the survey system. And of all the countries that we have delivered this tool into, I've not had one issue with regard to anyone telling me that the interpretation of language has not been as it should be, which is another big obvious bonus, because you do need the credibility of language to deliver the tool so that people believe in it. I think for me, the final point on the tip is that the team that sit behind this, I've already said it, are there to support and help, and they're at the end of the phone, and you can contact them almost at any time. And I think the final point is that I'd say don't underestimate the need to provide additional reminders that the survey needs to be completed. For me, the fundamental aspect of doing this survey was to get a real feel for the real temperature, the real mood of the organisation. And we couldn't really do that if we only had 50% of the employees within Swisslog completing this survey. And indeed, we pushed really hard to get the vast majority of people to complete the survey. And we did just that, and it did have the desired effect. Next slide, please, Carl. Okay. Engagement has already been mentioned. Occupational health and safety relies on transparency and engagement at all levels, and we've certainly got that. And that certainly has come as a result of the use of the tool. We've recently done a Gallup survey, which is, I suppose, similar to the health and safety climate tool survey, and that also demonstrated that the business was going in the right direction. And the Gallup survey came after the safety climate tool, and therefore I feel quite firmly that the Gallup survey result was in part as a result of the efforts of the tool that we're talking about now. In the 4 years that I've been with Swisslog, I've seen through the use of the tool an improvement in maturity levels of occupational health and safety, directly as a result of the analysis and the subsequent actions that flow from the analysis. It has worked, and it's continuing to work. We will never be where we need to be. The journey is obviously continuous, and we will continue to hone in and focus on those areas that need additional support through the tool. Near-miss reporting has been front and centre of everything that we've been doing. And of course, near-miss reporting does help to generate better levels of engagement and indeed ownership. And more on that in the next slide, I think. As I explained earlier, we've had a 2-year action plan. We didn't run it on an annual basis. We left it for 2 years in the UK in order that we could shape the culture so that we got the right result. And indeed it worked. 6 of 8 of the safety climate tool sections saw a significant improvement. The last survey that we did was late last year, with really pleasing results, as you can see from that. I think the final point is it's not just about 9001 and 45,001. I think the tool supports the organisation generally, but certainly from a 45,001 perspective, it has definitely helped. I mean, we're audited externally by Tufsud, who do the global audits for Swisslog late last year, and the auditors made it absolutely clear that within the UK, health and safety is, quote, living and not simply a tick box exercise to please authorities, enforcement, or indeed auditors. And that was real sort of music to my ears, which tells me that we're going in the right direction. Next slide, please, Carl. EMEA objectives. Objective number 2 is clear, and this tool drives the continuous improvement of safety culture within Swisslog EMEA. Next slide, please. That's a little out of date now. We're probably just short. Well, we're just short of 200 near misses now for this year. You can see the trend over the past 4 years to this year to date. We've currently had no RIDO over 7-day injuries, and it's clear from looking at that visual that near miss reporting is doing what it should be doing, and that is suppressing the opportunity for accidents to happen, causing injury, harm, or ill health. We really do focus on engagement through near miss reporting, and there isn't a single area of the business that doesn't engage with near miss reporting here in the UK. The rest of Europe is a little behind that, but nonetheless, they're on the same journey as the UK, and starting to develop the same structure that we have here, which is really encouraging across the rest of Europe. Next slide, please, Carl. We've introduced for every departmental area KPIs. There are these and 4 more on the next slide. But these again were developed in order to help shape the culture and to help improve accountability and indeed levels of engagement across all the business. And these KPIs are indeed tracked monthly. A monthly download verbal is given by each line manager with regard to each of these KPIs. Next slide, please, Carl. Obviously, the 3 KPIs there to the left, not the issues and concerns to the right, but they are working. And all in all, this is happening as a result of the inclusion of the Safety Climate Tool Survey. Next slide, please, Carl. Yes, we do Kaizans, improvement initiatives as part of the KPI process. And again, that's working really well. It's helping the business to share best practice and to introduce new processes and equipment, and it's having the desired effect so that we're creating a more stable, aligned organisation with respect to how we manage occupational health and safety within the business. Next slide, Carl. This just gives a clear indication as to where we've come from to. We sit at 96, 97% completion status on all occupational health and safety training, both online training and face-to-face training. And within that 96% of training, there is a significant amount of training, individual training courses. And that alone tells you that the inclusion of the tool and the focus on this particular area, which was one area that we'd needed to focus on from the indications that the analysis gave, it indeed is clearly working. Next slide, Carl. I think this is the last slide. Really, this is just to reinforce the point that leadership commitment is so important. And as we got that buy-in from our leaders right at the start, it didn't stop there. The free text response opportunity on the survey allows our individuals to say whatever they wish, freely, frankly, transparently, without any fear of, shall we call it, retribution. And we had a significant number of free text comments at the end of both surveys. And each of those leaders listed on there were then responsible for subsequently responding to each of the free text comments that were made to ensure that A, our people understood that we were listening to them, and B, provided an action plan as to how we intended to fix that particular issue or concern. But it wasn't just about concerns, it was also positive feedback as well that came through the survey. And obviously there are a number of fixed survey free text opportunities to be able to make your own choices as to what you're actually asking. And I think that's it, Carl, from me. All I'll say is going forward, finally, is we are obviously continuing to use the tool. We will continue to use it in the UK. Let's see where it goes elsewhere. We've already established the use of it now within Europe, across all of our European countries. And we are all actively engaged in using the tool to deliver improvement across the UK and indeed EMEA. All I can say is that we've not looked back. I think this, for me, this is one of the most important tools in my tool bag as a health and safety practitioner to deliver improvement and engagement as we move forward.